Hi, I'm Orlane, and with Jess we've been researching about Sèvres porcelain. Here at the Wallace it has some of the finest collections. Jess has been interviewing Helen Jacobsen about one particular piece.
What is Sèvres porcelain?
Porcelain is made from various types of clay, and it's baked at a very, very high temperature, and then it's covered in a glaze, a lead glaze, which gives it a shiny finish, and then the different colours are painted on top of that, and then finally the gilding that you see on some of these pieces is added.
So would it be difficult to make?
It would be incredibly difficult to make, and not only that, you have to remember they were making it in the 18th century when there was no electricity, there was no gas, so the only form of power was wood. So in order to make the ovens hot enough to bake this porcelain, they had to keep putting more and more bits of wood into an oven, getting it up to 1200 degrees centigrade. Can you imagine?
What would this be used for?
Well, this particular piece that we're looking at here is actually an ice cream cooler. So the idea was that you would make your ice cream and then put it in that cooler and put it on the table, so when there were lots of guests there they could see this beautiful ice cream cooler, and inside they would know there was delicious ice cream for them to eat.
What was ice cream like back then?
Well, that's a very good question, because in fact ice cream was a bit different from today. It was served in a runnier form, so it was made with fruits and cream and chocolate. Some of it was a bit more like sorbet perhaps than ice cream today, but some of it was cold cream, and it was put into tin liners. This mixture was put into a tin liner, which was then buried in a big container full of ice and salt actually. And over time, the fruits and the sorbet, or the cream and the chocolate, whatever it was, would get colder and colder and start solidifying. But it never actually got quite as frozen as ice cream is today.
Who was it made for?
Well, somebody very, very, very rich and very important. And in fact, we know that this ice cream cooler was made for Catherine the Great of Russia. And as you probably know, she was Empress in Russia in the 18th century. She was a great patron of the arts, and she was a particularly great patron of porcelain. She loved porcelain, she loved the colours, she loved what it did, and she ordered many, many different sorts of dinner services from all over Europe, including England. And this came from the Sèvre manufactory. And when it was made, it was the most expensive dinner service ever produced at Sèvres. And if you look at it, I think you can see why. There's an awful lot of gold on it. There are very, very difficult techniques for making the medallions, and altogether a very, very rich piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can't express how bright Sèvres porcelain is, so come down to the front stateroom at the Wallace Collection to see it for yourself. And keep watching out for more episodes that are going to come out in this series.